Are you someone who's just getting fed up with your crunches and wondering, why aren't these working? Why won't my stomach get flat? Well, my name is Dawn and I'm with New Dawn Exercise Therapy, and I want to help you out with that today. I've got some options that I think are going to work really well for you that I want you to think about adding into your workout routine in your everyday life. First of all, let's talk about why this might not be flat, and something we all deal with is there might be a little extra adipose tissue on there, also known as fat. It's so easy because we all love to eat and fat seems to go there first, and what do we do about it? Couple little things you might want to keep in mind. Your food intake, how is it? Do you need to clean it up a little bit? Be honest with yourself. I'm not talking some drastic overhaul with your diet, but could you watch your portion sizes a little bit more? Could you cut down on some of the sugars in the processed foods? Could you add in some more of the cleaner proteins, the fruits and vegetables? Are you just not really paying attention to your diet? It might be time to clean that up a little bit, okay? Secondly, increase your cardio interval work. I know a lot of us, we just go out for a walk or we get on the elliptical and we just kind of let our heart rate, kind of just go to steady state and don't think too much about it. We're like, we're working out and that's good. But throw some intervals into the mix, okay? If you're outside walking, think about after you warmed up for a few minutes, you're gonna maybe do a faster walk or a jog for 30 seconds. And then you're gonna take that back down to your normal 1 or 2 minute pace. And then we're gonna maybe bump that up again for a jog. And then we're gonna go back down. So we're gonna go up and down. You can do the same type of thing on the elliptical, increase your intensity. You can also do hill climbing on the elliptical or outside walking. Again, bump it up for a little bit of time, bump it back down. I love the back and forth. That burns more calories and burns them more effectively and gives your body a nice challenge. So first of all, let's think about get rid of some of the fat that you might have there. Let's talk about sit-ups and crunches. They are not effective for building the type of muscle that you want to help you pull everything in and make this midsection flatter. Why? Crunches, sit-ups, they work something called the rectus abdominis, and what that is just a superficial layer of your abdomen. It's the first muscle out there in the front, and it does work to crunch you. And if you're super, super, super lean and you really work this muscle and you get it really strong, you can start to see some of that six-pack. For most of us, that's not realistic because we're not willing to take our diets to such a place and our body fat to such a place where you're gonna see that six-pack. So what can normal people do instead? I'm gonna say get rid of the crunches as your primary ab exercise. We wanna work something called the transverse abdominis, and that's a fancy word for the deepest layer of your abdomen, that muscle in there. And it doesn't necessarily move you and crunch you like that superficial layer does. What it does is it pulls everything in. You've got obviously all these internal organs here, and you have to rely on that muscle group, the transverse abdominis, to pull it all in. And it to me is logical. If I can pull all that in, everything here gets smaller, it gets more compact. But we gotta work that transverse abdominis. We need to know how to do it. The biggest thing you can think about to work it is keep your navel in. That's your belly button. And can we just draw it in on a regular basis to help work that deepest layer? I'm not talking about suck it all in and hold your breath. That's not it. Just think about you're gonna pull your navel in closer to your spine whenever you can remember to do that. You might need to put some reminders around the house or on your phone, but I want you doing that on a regular basis throughout the day. I'm gonna pull that in. Maybe when you're walking, you're exercising. Try to keep your abs drawn in. That's so important. Now, what are some actual ab exercises you can do to help you train that area? Planks are a biggie. Let me show you real quick. If you're newer to planks, perhaps you're gonna start on your hands because this version is a little bit easier. We're gonna keep everything in because right now I guarantee it, if I let my abs go, everything's gonna hang on out and I'm not training anything. I wanna train my abs to stay in. Harder plank is down on the forearms and the elbows. Okay, so that's a hard plank. I wouldn't say we want to build up for holding this for minutes and minutes on end. That's really not going to do a lot. Maybe you're going to build up to 30 or 45 seconds. And then if that's starting to get too easy, options are tapping the toes out. All right, we could do that. We could lift legs up. That makes planks harder. Okay, so you got a lot of options to mess around with there. Maybe you're holding a 30-second plank and then you're gonna come over and you're gonna do some crunches, but then you're gonna come back down and you're gonna do that plank and maybe you're tapping out your toes, okay? What I'm saying is don't rely on the crunches and the sit-ups as your main form of ab exercise because that's not gonna do it. Other things you can do, laying down on your back. going to be important whenever you do this type of work that you keep the top of your pelvis tilted back into the floor and keep your abs in. Maybe we're alternating some leg kicks like that. All right, that's a little bit easier. A little bit harder is sending both legs out. And you would choose how far out you go, how low you go, depending on can you keep that pelvis from bobbing up, because we don't want your lower back to bob up and down. That's not great for the back. And then we could also do legs up and maybe lowering down a little bit, just doing some easy scissoring. All right, remember the lower you go, the harder it's gonna be. We don't want that back to be popping up off the floor and arching off the floor. A little low back curve is good, but when we start to get big, that's not good in the spine. That can cause some harm to the spine. I also love side planks. And the way we do that is to get on our elbow, stack our feet, lift up our hips like that, okay? And you can do a lot of variations. You can just hold, you can do little down and ups, all right? You can do some rotations. So you always have variety so we don't get bored. What I love about side planks is that doesn't just require me to hold my abs in. It works my obliques, my sides, and that's just absolutely awesome. It also works some of your back stabilizers. All right, so your core, I think about core as being the abs and the lower back and kind of everything in between, the sides as well. So I'm not opposed to the crunches. I think crunches can be good, but we want to be mixing it up with all the other type plank work and the stuff that I showed you laying on your back with your legs going down and up. All right, so remember that. Just crunching will not lead to a better midsection. It won't look the way you want it to look. 3 takeaways. You got to burn off the excess fat on top. You got to pull in your navel on a regular basis, and you got to do core work that will help strengthen the deeper muscles. So that's it for now. If I can help you out with anything, please do get in touch with me, and I will see you again soon.